Hey guys, welcome to episode 6 of this all or nothing Manchester City career mode here on FIFA 19. This is continued from the series that was recorded over in Berlin thanks to the EA Game Changers program. They flew myself and a number of other YouTubers out to record footage early for you, as you saw from the previous piece of footage that I showed on screen. We are now in the January transfer window with 2 cup competitions that we're involved in over the course of 3 games. And then subsequently, we've a number of league games to be played as well, including this rather large one against Liverpool. Now, the title race at present appears to be a 2-horse race between both Manchester sides, the red and blue halves, of course. We, at present moment, are top or net top with regards to game in hand and potential for points to be accrued. We were a lot further ahead earlier on in the season. We were 5 points clear. And we've beaten Manchester United this season as well. So we've clearly dropped a lot more points than they have in recent times. We get ourselves a 1-0 lead here early on against Liverpool, though. Leroy Sané with a breakaway run. I pulled it back to the man in the middle, not realising it was David Silva. I was hoping to hit it quite early on with his right foot. Obviously not able to do that with David Silva, or at least not as effectively. So had to cut back onto my left and thought I might have given the opportunity away, but thankfully he's able to bury it. And on the other end of the pitch, thankfully on his left foot, not able to bury it, was Mo Salah. Took this free kick though that whipped into the box. It was half cleared, and they work it back forward. And again, another effort that's well saved by Ederson. Salah picks it up. Luckily, he's dragged back, finds himself falling into the kind of kill zone of the defender that's near him, who's able to pounce on it and ensure that we don't concede. Into the second half we go. Jordan Henderson driving forward. Firmino with an early effort that, again, well saved by Ederson, proving to be a very capable goalkeeper in this save, and one would presume a very capable goalkeeper all told on FIFA, whether that be head-to-head or online or FUT or career mode. But if Gini Wijnaldum had scored that goal, then that would have been outrageous. And that was the sort of thing that the AI were doing, not fairly regularly, but on occasion. They'd use the active skill system a number of times. Actually, they use skill moves against me a lot more in FIFA 19 as well. In previous years, obviously, you have a variety of skill moves available to you as the user, and the AI just don't use them. On this build, which was the day 1 patch version of the game, we saw the AI using not only skills, but as you saw with that Gini Wijnaldum effort, actively using the active touch system to chip the ball up, to knock it round people, to set yourself up with the defender behind you, to chip it up to the side, to then scissor volley on goal. And the AI was scoring some incredible goals against myself and a number of other players that were recording career mode content in Berlin. You'll have to check other people's content for that. I don't think there's one goal coming up in a latter episode that was spectacular. I believe it was it Romelu Lukaku? I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but it was a pretty ridiculous goal. But we're back to FA Cup action now. I say back to FA Cup action. This is the first game, the third round against Walsall, simulating it with my rotation side, of course. Phil Foden giving us a lead after a single minute, or inside a single minute, with Grimaldo, the left-back, Spanish left-back we signed in the first transfer window, giving us a 2-0 lead. Now, we are, as we mentioned, in the January transfer window right now, but I'm not sure, or obviously I've already recorded it, I wasn't sure, past tense, what to do in this window. I had a chunk of change available to me, about £90 million, to be completely honest, but I didn't know where to buy. I was trying to sell people on to then improve in that particular position, like we did with Fernandinho. Obviously, Fernandinho is great, but we improved by getting in Casemiro. So I could only really improve in any position by selling on the base player I had as my backup, like players that set about like Jason Denayer, or like we did at left back, selling on Fabian Delph and bringing in Grimaldo. So I wanted to do the same with other positions, either at centre back or at wing back, or with the goalkeeper, etc. So I was trying to sell players on. Now, the issue we were having, and I think I mentioned this when or in either episodes 1 or 2, when we were in the previous transfer window, I wanted to, we did bring it up with the day, so a number of other people were having issues as well with larger teams, obviously larger wages for players, and transfer talks were just breaking down everywhere. It was a real issue for us, so hopefully that will be something that's adjusted for full release, or at least the earliest patch post full release. But one concerning thing right now, in the moment, was losing the first leg of the Carabao Cup by 2-1 against Wolves. And we have them in the league in between the two games. Now, I was very much hoping to get myself through to the final of the Carabao Cup and win it and replicate what Manchester City did in real life. But we have ourselves a slight issue at present that we might not be able to do that. But we had them in the league in between the two cup games. Fernandinho got himself sent off with a straight red card after 12 minutes, which was great. And then Phil Foden, thankfully, was able to give us a 1-0 lead in the 22nd minute. Now, Southampton went down to 10 men early doors earlier on in the season and were able to get themselves a 1-0 victory. And where we were able to get ourselves a similar victory by going down to 10 men early doors and getting the game seen out. We unfortunately weren't able to. Sergio Aguero missed a penalty after coming off the bench, and then with 3 minutes to go, they were able to get themselves an equaliser. So Wolves take a point off me and have a first leg lead in the Carabao Cup semi-finals. We do have, again, against Huddersfield in the Premier League as well, between now and the second leg against Wolves, which was always going to be my second played game of the episode, but subsequently having lost the lost the first leg of the Carabao Cup, I wanted to make sure I did play the second leg anyway, but I was initially intending to play the second leg. But we go 1-0 down here in the 19th minute to Huddersfield thanks to a goal from Mounier. And as you can see, only 20 minutes to go. With my rotation side, it does look like we are going to take a defeat from this game away from home against Huddersfield Town, and indeed we do. So we're dropping yet further points in the Premier League, which is playing into our direct rivals and local rivals' hands, Manchester United. Now, I played my full strength 11 for this second leg in the Carabao Cup, hoping to destroy Wolverhampton Wanderers, albeit at home. We were away from home in the first leg. They went defensive with 5 at the back, although you would perhaps expect Leander Dendoncker to push slightly forward into midfield in opportunities of possession for Wolves, but I was hoping not to give them that many opportunities to have possession. But in the early stages, first 5 or so minutes, we hit the post with Casemiro. That was a sign of things to come with regards to Wolves being pinned in or around their own box. They're trying to work it around here with a bit of possession that fails. De Bruyne into Aguero, around the corner to Sané. We've seen him score that opportunity numerous times this season, but pulls it past the post. I don't know whether it was me getting frustrated or just not concentrating properly, getting my my angles wrong, my power wrong, but we came very close to actually going 1-0 down there before half-time. Raul Jimenez with a header from the edge of the box. It cannons back off the post. That was a warning shot from Wolves. We might be the better team, we might be playing the better football, but they have their lead, and if they score once, it's probably game over. Kevin De Bruyne here gets tackled, but rises to challenge and keeps possession somehow. Sterling into the middle. I thought that was it. Absolutely certain that was it when David Silva was in one-on-one. Somehow the keeper keeps it out off the bar, not the post, and stayed out. On the hour mark, again, Wolves loose in possession. De Bruyne and David Silva involved here. Thankfully, it cannons back to the Spaniard, work it around back to the Belgian, into the Argentinian, and De Bruyne has his shot well saved by Rui Patricio. Wolves have got a decent squad, it has to be said. Sergio Aguero in possession here. Kevin De Bruyne back inside to Sergio Aguero again. Got some space here to perhaps shoot. Lays it into David Silva, who fires it straight into the hands of the Portuguese. Rui Patricio again. Again, loose in possession. Wolves not very good with it. Somehow David Silva rises to challenge there. Sterling back to Aguero, looking to bend it in the top corner. I'd have put my house on him. I am now homeless. Aguero bending that one past the post with space inside the area. Very unlike him to miss a chance of that clinical and clear-cut nature. Sané through to De Bruyne. I thought that was it as well, similar to the David Silva chance earlier on. But the keeper got something on it. Why De Bruyne went with his studs there and didn't just side foot at home, I'm not sure. Sané takes the resulting corner. Drops here to Fernandinho. He strikes it very cleanly and very hard and low, but Patricio is able to gather himself and his positional sense after the punch from the previous corner. And I drew 0-0 against Wolves, and I can't tell you how I didn't win that game. I only needed a single goal to nil victory, and I wasn't able to do it. They had one shot all game, which was that header that came back off the post just before half-time. I had 10 efforts and couldn't score. Wolves through to the Carabao Cup final at my expense, and then one of Watford or Fulham will be joining them at Wembley for the final in February/early March. So I can't replicate Manchester City with regards winning the Carabao Cup. However, we are still in the FA Cup after beating Walsall, although, as per the series, only playing 2 games per episode, so I simulated this game against Spurs with my full-strength side. 1-0 up through Leroy Sané after 5 minutes. Hugo Lloris gets an injury for them in goal, which is very unlike FIFA. But Kyle Walker gives us the win in the 80th minute after Lucas pulled one back for Tottenham in the 74th. Now, I was continuing to get multiple offers for multiple players, some of which I was rejecting, of course, for Fernandinho, John Stones, Danilo, etc., Kyle Walker. But I was trying to sell players like Jason Denayer and Claudio Bravo and a number of other kids in the squad. But could I get their respective potential new teams to accept contract terms? Could I balls? It just would not happen. I'm desperately hoping that that is fixed for launch, and I'm sure it will be, because it was a lot worse in this build than even we noticed in previous iterations of FIFA, where it was already an issue. But we weren't having an issue with regards to the result in the Premier League here against Newcastle away from home at St James's Park. We got ourselves a 3-1 victory. Delighted with that, accepting another offer here for Jason Denayer, trying desperately to get him out of the club so I could go out and buy a world-class centre-back. Because the highest deals of the window so far, Neville Fekir scored against us for Lyon, going to Barcelona, so he may well score against us again. In real life, the players are now allowed to play in European competition. I believe that the cup-tied rule is no longer in effect for European competition in the Europa League and the Champions League, but it is still in effect for domestic cup competitions here in England. But as you can see, nothing else happened for me in the transfer window. Very, very frustrating. So if I am to replicate Manchester City's exploits in the Premier League and in, let's call it domestic cup competition, because they won 1 domestic cup, and I still have the opportunity to win 1 domestic cup, although albeit the FA Cup rather than the Carabao Cup, which arguably would be a better competition to win. So I still have the chance to replicate Manchester City with a domestic cup and league win, and I will be doing it with a squad that is very close to, or very similar to, more similar to had I the in real life squad than it would have been had I made numerous more changes in this transfer window. We made obviously the Casemiro and Grimaldo deals in the early stages of the opening transfer window at the beginning of the season, and even then, I was saying to myself, and I think I mentioned in commentary, I was like, I don't know whether I want to make too many transfers in this one-off season when I'm trying to replicate what City did IRL. Should I maybe try and do it in the same scenario with the same players available to me? Now, I've made slight alterations and obviously wasn't able to drastically change the current squad with regards to players going out to then replace them. So I thought, all right, fine. Well, if I am to win multiple trophies, then it will be with a very similar, albeit not identical, squad to what Manchester City did in real life. Now, you can see Toby Alderweireld also went to Barcelona in this transfer window. Strootman's gone to Chelsea. That deal actually went through in December, as you can see. So he will have moved on January the 1st, but the deal was actually done in December. Trippier has gone to Bayern Munich, interestingly. Chiesa has come to Arsenal. So there was a number of big deals and a number of interesting ones that went through. Cesc Fabregas back to Barcelona, you may have seen there for Chelsea. I think that might well have been... no, I'm pretty sure that was in January as well, actually, off the top of my head, because I recorded a commentary earlier today while I was playing Chelsea, and I'm pretty sure Cesc Fabregas was on the bench. But as you can see, Eduardo Salvio to Arsenal as well. A number of other deals that went through that... you will have seen in the background there that wasn't quite able to commentate on. But as you can see, we are still top of the Premier League. However, it's now not a 2-horse race. If Chelsea win their game in hand, they'll split the 2 Manchester sides. It'll be us on 47, Chelsea on 46, United on 45, and then Tottenham aren't that far behind either. So it's all coming together for a very exciting title showdown, which hopefully we shall win, but we will find out in due course. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel too to make sure you don't miss out on any content here from the capture event or from full launch, which will be in a few days' time. This series will probably be coming to you multiple times a day now, either 2 or even 3, perhaps even 4 episodes per day for the next couple. So do make sure you're subscribed, make sure you're not missing any of the videos, and I'll see you in the next one.